As a book, The Nun's Story swiftly became the most gripping and dramatic bestseller of this decade. Now a tremendous motion picture, it pierces deep into the fascinating secrets of a seldom, if ever, seen world. Deeper into the pageant and violence of the teeming African Congo. And deepest of all, into the conscience of a young and beautiful girl.
You will be assisting Dr. Fortunati. He is a genius and a devil.
But remember, he is also a man, a bachelor, and I'm afraid an unbeliever. Don't ever think for an instant, sister, that your habit will protect you.
You will search your memory in vain for motion picture excitement and entertainment to compare it with. There is no equal. There has never been a motion picture like The Nun's Story.
Good evening, everyone. Jay Saki here. I hope you are all hanging in there. The other day I watched The Nun's Story from 1959 starring Audrey Hepburn. I watched this one for the first time about a year and a half ago. It turned out to be a deeply moving and spiritually impactful film at the time I saw it, and I knew I wanted to give it another watch at some point. So it's a fictional movie based on the novel The Nun's Story, written by Katherine Hulme, that is inspired / based on the life of a real former nun who the author met at some point. So it's one of those books where it's hard to say how much is a true story or how much is fiction. But of course, let it be known that much fiction borrows heavily and liberally from fact. Thus the two intertwine to give us the movie The Nun's Story. So what's it about? The story starts in the late 20s in Belgium and is about a young woman named Gabrielle, and she has a dream to enter a convent. And her father is like, "Are you sure you know what you're doing? Once you step into the convent, your life is no longer your own." And she's all like, "It's okay, I know exactly what I'm committing myself to." Or does she? And then the movie is about her life, and it demonstrates what it's like to undergo the Special Forces equivalent of living the religious life. Now, I think there's a lot of people who would find training to live in a convent to be not that interesting. If I was a kid and watched this, I would be like, what's the big deal? All you have to do is practice silence, obedience, humility, and self-reflect on your imperfections every day. What's so hard about that? Similarly, when I was younger, if I watched a movie about soldiers in military boot camp, running, doing push-ups, sit-ups, and running an obstacle course, I'm thinking, yeah, I like to run, do push-ups and sit-ups, and I'm awesome on the monkey bars on the playground, so why are these guys looking like they're about to flop over dead? Then when you're older and getting out of shape and you're in the process of getting back into shape, you feel how much it hurts to work out, and then when you watch a military boot camp scene, you're like, oh my gosh, that looks painful. Likewise, watching The Nun's Story through adult eyes, I'm left thinking, oh my gosh, this looks impossible. How do these women do it? And the movie emphasizes how hard it is to absolutely surrender your life to God and to not hold back and to shake away every last ounce of pride and your past self just to serve the Lord. And the question that keeps coming up in your mind is, was this young woman truly ready to give up her old self and take this harsh, rigorous path? Or was she holding on to some idea that she would be allowed to choose her own fate? And the movie is so well written that it makes you recognize for yourself what might be the small seeds of destruction that lay along the way. Some moments are more overt, others are just small moments that you, as the viewer, might think about and chew on if you notice. So like when she's going into the convent, she has aspirations of going to the Congo where her convent does outreach work, and she has this idea that she's going to be a saint by serving the lowest of the low, only to be reminded later that not all the nuns go to the Congo. You might if you're qualified, but who knows? And that one element does affect her spiritual journey. It's like if you joined the army with the thought that by doing so you're going to serve your country and see the world, only to be given a small menial position as the military librarian at some base in Texas. But it's your duty, right? You asked to serve and now you're serving. And yes, Sister Gabrielle does in fact go to the Congo, but does she get to service the small poor African children? No! You have to work in the field hospital for the white European workers doing the outreach work. Boring! And the movie does such a good job at putting you in Sister Gabrielle's mindset that these small deviations make all the difference in the world in challenging her pride and obedience, and you do ask yourself, how would I hold up under these circumstances trying to be an absolute vessel for God's work while claiming no credit for what you do? Here's some advice. When you go to your lousy day job at fast food, just do it for the absolute love of God, and when your coworkers slack off so you have to work harder, don't complain. Just do their work for them and don't demand credit or a promotion. And then, when you accidentally clock out early and then realize you have to work an extra 20 minutes just to help close down the store, don't go back and request the extra 20 minutes of pay. Just give it to your boss, and just do it all for the love of Christ. I really shouldn't, but I can't help but compare this movie against current entertainment. It's been observed in current movies, shows, as well as video games with all the various mandates that there's a thing where if you have a strong female character, there must be a part where a guy character compliments her on being really good at something. Or say, I hear you're the best at what you do. You're the best we've got. You're really good at this. That comes up in this movie, where a certain male doctor character whose Sister Gabrielle is assigned to work with keeps complimenting her work as a nurse. He keeps telling her how excellent she is and how the last nun would always faint at the sight of blood. And you recognize it's just an occasion of sin to be prideful in your work. Now you might be thinking, sure Jay Saki, this sounds cool and all, but how good can this movie about the convent really be? Well, it was nominated for 8 Academy Awards, including being nominated for Best Picture. The writing, the directing, shot composition, and the acting is all top-notch. Nothing about this movie is aged. I should mention at this time, the director is Fred Zinman, who also directed High Noon and A Man for All Seasons. The more you know. This film is a gem. So will I continue to watch this movie throughout my life? Yes. Did I learn anything? Yes. Just because a movie is old doesn't mean it's not excellent and can still hold up. I learned about a really good movie that challenged me. I dare say I learned about myself while watching this. This film is an extensive spiritual exploration of oneself. As the Reverend Mother says in the film, you might be able to cheat us, but you cannot cheat God. That's just it, audience. You cannot cheat God, for He knows all that's on your heart. That is all. That is all I have. Have a good night, everyone.